Hello, welcome to episode 3 of building a LAS-7 Dagger. So, before me, I have many new pieces. I've got a new LED driver, I've got a trigger switch, which I've just spent the last few minutes setting up. So I've got a trigger. This is designed for a power drill, but works just fine in this application. And I have a new heatsink. So to better fit with the build, I'm using an SSD heatsink because it's the right shape, size, and it gets the job done. So let's start with the heatsink. This is a Thermalright. I think it's called an HR10 Pro. It's called a Pro because it has a little fan built right into it. It's not any wider. And without the fan, at full power, it took about 1 minute to get to 85 degrees Celsius, which is just about the thermal limit here. I'm personally going to be using a 90 degrees Celsius thermal switch because I think if it's rated for 85, it'll probably be just fine at 90, and it's going to cut off at 90. With the fan, technically, I don't actually have the ability to turn the fan on right now, but I do have this battery-powered waist fan thing, and I set it to its lowest setting, which is frankly probably even less airflow than this thing's going to put out at full bore. So even with only that, it took 3 minutes to get to 75, and it barely crept up to 75. I really am not sure if it would have even gotten to 80, let alone 85. And I don't, truth be told, I do not have a voltmeter at this moment. I use my old power supply to read the voltage off of this. It's somewhere in the 35 to 36 volt range, which is fine. I also don't know exactly how many amps this is pulling. I only know that it is more than 2, and that this will pull 2.5 if left to its own devices. So it's probably full power, but still close enough. It took 3 minutes to almost overheat. So I'm considering it a total victory. This tiny little heatsink is capable of dissipating more than 50 watts of heat. That's awesome. So many props to this company. And I'm not even using a good thermal paste either. I'm using a thermal glue. That's how I'm attaching this, is I'm just using a thermal glue instead of a thermal paste. And the switch. So right here, I've got this little trigger switch. So, boop, boop. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot. This should work as a dimmer. I totally forgot about that. Let's test that right here. Yeah, it's working. Oh my god, it's working. I can dim it. Kind of, a little bit. It's touchy, but it works. Yeah, look at that, it's dimming. And then off. And then on just a little bit more, full power, off. Yeah, cool, trigger switch. Now this is supposedly rated for 24 volts, and I'm using it for 36 volts. But as you can see, it clearly works just fine. And then this thing right here. So previously, hold on just a second. Previously, I was using this relatively massive power supply, variable power supply. It's very thick and would not have fit inside of the gun at all. This is massive in the sense of scale relating to this gun. It would not have fit at all. Way too big. Also, I wasn't even able to set it to the full 36 volts, let alone overclock it, which I'll get to later. I was running this at 35.5 volts instead of 36. This thing's rated for I think 48 volts, and this will do 80 watts. This will do 250. So way better. Absolutely incredible. This is also variable. This top This top switch is for voltage. The bottom switch is for amperage. Um, Very nice. It was also way cheaper. I think this was like $5 or something. I'd have to check. It was very cheap. That power supply was I think $40, which not bad for what it is. It's a great little toy. It's a great power supply. I love it. Recommend it. This is way better for what I'm using for what I need it though. And the batteries, same old batteries. I do have a charger for them now. Little charging circuit right here. Couple dollars for 3 of these. USB-C. This is gonna go at the bottom of the handle, like right at the butt of it. It's good. It works. As you can see, this is runoff battery, so it does work. These are charged. Yeah, this is it. This is the final hardware. So now it's all up to my 3D modeling guy to finish everything up. Very excited. The next update should be the final one. The next one should be the final one with the functional prototype. So I'll see you then. Goodbye. Alright, my bad. I totally forgot to get to overclocking. So overclocking. I was reading the paper on this LED, right? They're like, this company's great. They provided a 12-page document about this LED specifically. Incredible. But reading through it, it seemed that it was totally capable of running at 38 volts. And at that voltage would draw, 96 watts and would produce 13,000 lumens instead of 11,000 at 80 watts, by the way. So that means that I'm going to be overclocking the hell out of my personal one. For selling them, I'm thinking I might try and sell an overclocked version where I set it to 38 volts. I think I might try and get mine to 40. Right, I set them to 38 volts instead of 36 at a higher cost, obviously, because more likely for it to break or something. Also, that's obviously going to eat away through the batteries like crazy. This thing already has like a 40-minute charge. That's going to bring it down to like a 35 minute. But that's at full blast anyway. As you just saw, it can be dimmed. But yeah, so it can be overclocked. I'll be testing that out later once I have a voltmeter. I can do a little bit of a better setup here. So yeah, and that's about it. See you in episode 4.